Hi everyone, today we're going to be talking about major key signatures and the circle of fifths. For this video to make sense to you, you'll need a good understanding of how to write a major scale. And I have another video on that that's linked in the description below. I hope you'll check it out. A key signature is made up of sharps or flats and is used at the beginning of a score to indicate consistent accidentals for the whole piece of music or for part of a piece. So instead of writing our accidentals on every note that needs it, we can use a key signature at the beginning that tells us to raise those notes in the case of sharps or to lower those notes in the case of flats. We'll write that at the beginning of the score and on each line or system of the score so we can remember our key signature and which notes need to be altered. A key signature can change in the middle of a piece of music. You might have a modulation in a piece of music and the key signature changes. If a key signature changes to the key of C major, or as we'll learn later, to A minor that doesn't have any sharps or flats, you might see naturals in the key signature at that point. But otherwise, our key signatures are going to be made up of sharps or flats. A key signature is also an indicator of tonality. However, it's not the only indicator, and the key signature alone isn't enough to indicate what key a piece of music is in. You have to actually look at the music itself, because the same key signatures that we use for major keys can be used for other minor keys. So we have to look at the music itself. Here is an A major scale. We talked about how to write scales in our last video. We see the three sharps that are included there: F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. I'm going to write those as a key signature: F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. When we write the key signature at the left, we no longer need those sharps before each note. The key signature tells us that those notes are sharp. Our scale sounds exactly the same. Let's look at this in a real piece of music. I think it's important to look at real music and not just examples. Here's the hymn, "Oh for a Thousand Tongues to Sing." We will often look at hymns and chorales in theory because they're good at helping us understand concepts that we need to know. So our key signature here is 1 sharp, F sharp. So that would mean every time we see an F in this piece of music, it's actually an F sharp. So they're in the tenor part, and then we have it here again in the tenor and in the bass. Let me play some of this. So we see those F sharps. Let's look at the rest of the hymn. We have an F sharp there in the alto. We have an F sharp in the tenor towards the end. Look at the last measure. You'll see the G circled in the melody line in the soprano and the G circled in the bass. This key signature is an indicator of the key of G major. We would learn later that 1 sharp could also indicate E minor, but in this case, the hymn ends with the melody line and the bass line on a G. So knowing what we know about the key signature of 1 sharp and looking at the music itself, we can confirm that indeed this piece of music is in G major. Let's talk about the order of sharps and flats. For sharps, our order is F, C, G, D, A, E, B. Our sharps will always be written in that order. And the order of flats is exactly the opposite. We have B, E, A, D, G, C, and F. As you learn how to write these, notice that we start with F sharp and go down and then up As we're at G sharp, we go down to D sharp and then down again to A sharp. The flats are a little easier and the up-down pattern is consistent. That's just something to point out as you learn how to write these key signatures. Lots of people will remember the order with a mnemonic. I think it's helpful just so we can remember and learn to do this more quickly. For sharps, Father Charles goes down and ends battle. Or for the flats, exactly the opposite. Battle ends and down goes Charles' father. How sad. But that helps us remember the order of sharps and flats. But how do we know the key from a key signature? There are rules for that. In flat keys, the second to last flat indicates the major key. We have 5 flats here. The second to last flat is D flat, so we know that this is D flat major. By the way, as you're writing answers in homework and quizzes and tests, if you write a capital letter, that indicates major. If you write a lowercase letter, that would represent minor. So if your answer is major, make sure you're writing a capital D for D flat. Let's look at another one. 3 flats. Our second to last flat is E flat. So this is E flat major. Here's the rule for sharps. In major sharp keys, the last sharp is a half step below tonic or scale degree 1. Tonic, scale degree 1, that's the key that we're in. So the last sharp is a half step below. Our last sharp is G sharp. So if we move up a half step from G sharp, we arrive at A. 3 sharps is the key signature for A major. Here's another one. 6 sharps. Our last sharp is E sharp. We'll remember that E sharp is inharmonic with F, and if we go up a half step, we arrive at F sharp. So F sharp is our major key for 6 sharps. What do we do if we're asked to write key signatures? We need to write the key signature for A flat major. Our second to last flat indicates key. So on our order of flats, I'm going to circle the A for A flat, and that would be our second to last flat. So as we're writing our flats, we need to write one more flat all the way to D flat. So we'll start with B flat, B flat, E flat, A flat, and D flat. And we will see that our second to last flat is A flat. You can always check your work that way by looking at the second to last flat after you've written your answer. Let's look at an example with sharps. Our last sharp is a half step below the tonic, or the key that we're in. A half step below E would be D sharp. I'm going to circle our D on our order of sharps. So we're going to start at the beginning and write all the way through D sharp, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. There's our last sharp that is a half step below E. Let's do one more, and it's the exception to the rule. F major. In our order of flats, F is the last one. So if we're thinking about our second to last flat, we don't have another space to go here. F flat is the last flat in the order. We have to go back to the beginning and B flat. F major just has one flat, and it's B flat. The exception to the rule, there is no second to last flat when we just have one flat. F major, one flat, and it's B flat. I've given you a lot of information here, and it might all seem a little bit disconnected. I want to teach you one more thing that I really hope will help bring all these ideas together and help you understand how all this is really connected. It's called the circle of fifths. But for the circle of fifths to make sense, we have to learn about the interval of a fifth. An interval is the distance between two notes. We know about the interval of a half step or the interval of a whole step. This is the interval of a fifth. There are a few different ways to think of it. If we're starting at Do or scale degree 1 within a major scale, we can do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From scale degree 1 up to scale degree 5 is a perfect fifth. That's thinking within a scale. We can also think chromatically with half steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 semitones or half steps is a perfect fifth. But usually we're thinking in a major scale like we were here. So from scale degree 1 up to scale degree 5. What if we started up here at the upper Do or scale degree 1 and went down? If we go down, we end up at scale degree 4. So from scale degree 1 down a fifth would take us to scale degree 4 or Fa. So that's really important. Scale degree 1 up to scale degree 5 is a perfect fifth, or scale degree 1 down to scale degree 4 is a perfect fifth. You need to know this to do the circle of fifths. Let's take a look and we'll put all this together. Here is the circle of fifths. We're going to start at the top of the circle with C major that has no sharps or flats. We're going to work our way around clockwise by going up a fifth each time. If we have C, up a fifth from C is G. And the key of G major has one sharp. Let's keep going. G up a fifth gets us to D. The key of D major has two sharps. I think you're starting to see a pattern here. D up a fifth, we arrive at A that has three sharps. A up a fifth, we get to E, which has four sharps. E up a fifth is B, which is five sharps. B up a fifth, we're tempted to say F. We do have to remember that it is 7 semitones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that would take us to F sharp. That's 6 sharps, and F sharp up a perfect fifth gets us to C sharp, 7 sharps. So we've gone a little past halfway around the circle with our sharp keys. Let's go the opposite direction. We're going to do the flat keys, and this time we're going to be going down a fifth. So if we start at C, down a perfect fifth would be F, and the key of F has one flat. From F down a perfect fifth is B flat, 2 flats. B flat down a perfect fifth, E flat, 3 flats. E flat down a perfect fifth to A flat, which is 4 flats. It looks like we've completed our circle, but we can keep going. A flat down a fifth to D flat, that would be 5 flats. Inharmonic with C sharp. Down a fifth to G flat, 6 flats. Inharmonic with F sharp major. Notice that G flat and F sharp major, they both have 6 flats or 6 sharps. That's worth taking note of there. That's as far away from C as we can get. We're on the opposite side of the circle. One more. If we go down a fifth from G flat, we arrive at C flat, which is inharmonic with B. C flat would have 7 flats. As we go clockwise around the circle, we're going up a fifth and adding a sharp. As we go counterclockwise around the circle, we're going down a fifth and adding a flat. The circle of fifths is a very helpful tool that aids our understanding of key. I hope you feel like you've learned something today about major key signatures and that the circle of fifths really enhances your understanding. I have study notes that go over everything we've talked about in this video, and there's a practice quiz for you to practice your skills. Thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.